How you doing, everybody? Brian Sr. here. If you are a true blue, red-blooded, liberty-loving, Bible-thumping, gun-toting, truth-seeking, fed up with the status quo, tyranny-smashing, tossing the tea overboard, American patriot, agent of change, then you are in the right place. We're going to put our heads together. We're going to do what Americans do best. We're going to solve problems. We're going to encourage one another. We're going to educate one another as we lift up our families, our friends, our neighbors, and our country. The American dream lives here. So, the last podcast that I was doing, I was kind of trying to give a pep talk and get our heads straight, to get our heads right, to get back in the right frame of mind. It's been an emotional roller coaster for me too. I've been the whole gamut of emotions, man. Disappointment, anger, frustration. Oh man, you name it. I've been all over the map. It's been a nightmare. But we're going to start looking at things from a different perspective. We're going to push forward. We're not going to give up. Americans don't give up, man. We never give up. We will not give up. We're going to take our country back, whether they like it or not. And they're scared to death of us. That's why they're acting the way they're acting. That's why they're stomping all over the Constitution. That's why they're trying to get rid of President Trump. They're scared to death. They know that the power they have right now is not something they're going to be able to hold on to for very long. It is our power. We will take it back. So let's go ahead and start with some prayer, as we always do. Dear Lord, we love you. We praise you. We are so grateful to be in this country. We are so grateful to have the freedoms that we have. These freedoms that our founding fathers acknowledged come from you, God. Our freedoms come from you and you alone. You alone can give us these types of freedoms. And there's no man, there's no group of men, there's no women, there's no government that can have the power to grant us anything that you haven't already granted us. And they definitely don't have the power to take away something that you and you alone have granted and bestowed onto us as individuals, as a country, as a nation, and as a world. You are in control. We understand that. We're going to draw upon you now. We're going to ask that you fill us with wisdom, that you comfort our hearts, that you fill us with the strength that we need to carry on this battle, to turn this country around and bring this country back to you. And we ask in Jesus' precious holy name, amen. So, like I said, I left off on the last podcast talking about how a four-year siesta, so to speak, from Donald Trump, President Trump's administration may not be the worst thing in the world. This great awakening that's taking place is only going to continue to take place. Like I mentioned in the last podcast, there are unions that have backed Joe Biden that within the first 7 days of Joe Biden's administration have come to the awakening. They've joined us in the awakening, in the great awakening. The unions are starting to join us. They understand they're screwed now. They are absolutely screwed. And there's going to be more and more people that understand that they are screwed in a Joe Biden, Kamala Harris administration. We need to build on what President Trump has built on. The minority communities that have come to be a part of this awakening with the walk away, with the Blexit, all of these groups, Latinos for Trump. We need to keep that ball rolling. We are stronger together. The politicians, the swamp, the one-party system of Washington, D.C., because let's face it, that's what we have. And I hear people saying, oh, we have to support the GOP. Bull. I'm done supporting the GOP. We need a third party. We need a new party. I hope to God that Donald Trump is already working on promoting another party, because that's the only way we're going to get our freedoms back, in my view. People are saying we can't turn our backs on the GOP. Well, listen, the GOP turned their backs on us, okay? This if you're a real estate investor or something like that, and you're going around flipping houses, this is the best example I could come up with. If you're flipping houses, you can redo a bathroom, you can redo, even if there's a crack in the foundation, you can fix, small flaws in the foundation. But there are some houses that you cannot fix. They are just beyond repair. And I believe that's where the GOP is right now. There were 10 GOP, I believe they were senators. I'll have to double check that. But there were 10 of them, maybe in the House. See, now I'm all tripped up. I'm already screwing this up. But on the screen right here, it'll give you all the accurate information. There's 10 of them. These are their names. These are who they are. They need to go for sure. But there's people that are thinking if we get rid of these 10, then the GOP will be better. The GOP won't be better with those 10. I mean, they will be better with those 10 gone, but the GOP won't be functional if we take those 10 idiots out. Those 10 members of the one-party system. That's what we have in Washington, D.C. We have a left wing and a right wing of a one-party system. There is no two-party system. They are one. The GOP, their only loyalty is to the government system. That's it. They're not loyal to the country of America. They're not loyal to the citizens of America. They're not loyal to the ideals of America. They have zero loyalty whatsoever to any of that. The only loyalty they have is to the governmental power structure. That's it. We have one party. We have two factions of a party that support the government system. And the government system doesn't give a crap about the United States. The government system doesn't give a crap about minorities in America, about gay and lesbian in America, about white people in America, about brown people, Latinos, students, elderly. They don't give a crap about any of that. The only thing they care about is their power structure and maintaining it and enriching themselves off of it. Sorry, I got a stray mustache hair there that's driving me nuts. Sorry. So that's where we're at. We have a one-party system. We can't support, if a vote for the GOP is a vote for the one-party system that supports the oligarchy of America. That's all it is. So I will argue to my dying breath that we need to dump the GOP party. And I'm not naive. I understand starting a new party is going to have a lot of pitfalls. It's going to be a tough road, and you're going to sustain some short-term losses. But what do we get when the GOP wins? Really, what do we get? A win is a loss. So what is the difference between starting a third party and having some short-term losses, or going with the GOP and just having long-term loss after long-term loss after long-term loss? There's no comparison. It's a lose-lose situation, I understand, but it's a short-term loss with long-term gains if we start a third party. And I understand that really the only way that's going to work is if President Trump supports that. That's just the way it is. But there's never been a point in history where it has been more viable than right now. And if we don't strike while the iron is hot, we're going to regret it, I think. The GOP, even if you got rid of all of the elected officials within the GOP, that's not even taking into account the machinery of the GOP. The RNC, the National Committee, the people who decide who they're going to put money into what race and who they're going to support and who they're going to prop up, and just all of these ancillary things that go on within the party, the fundraising, where they go. Like California, man. California has 20% of all the electoral votes in the entire nation. And the GOP has just waved the white flag on California. They make zero effort. I live in California. I see what they've been doing or not doing. They don't do anything. They come around every 4 years and kind of like throw some half-hearted little commercial here, commercial there, spend a few $1 million here, a few $1 million there. And for what? They get nothing out of it. They need to be in California. Well, I'm done with the GOP, but if I were still supporting the GOP, they need to be in California 24/7, 365 days a year, in political seasons and out of political seasons, spreading the message. The GOP doesn't effectively spread the message. And the reason why they don't effectively spread the message is they don't really believe the message. And I was telling a friend at work, the GOP and the Democrats are exactly the same. And this is why they both hated Donald Trump, President Trump, so much. He came in his first year in office and said, I want to make a deal to make the DACA people legal, the dreamers. I want to make them legal citizens. You know, the dreamers, everybody knows they're, you know, kids that were brought here and they're technically illegal aliens, but they've grown up in this country, right? And Donald Trump said, let's take care of those folks. Let's take care of them. Let's give them an opportunity to become citizens. And it embarrassed the Democrats. And President Trump said, listen, Democrats, if you give some money, if you agree to a bill that will provide money for building a fence or a wall, I will make sure that these DACA dreamers will get citizenship. And the Democrats, Nancy Pelosi, said, no way, we're not going to give you that victory. And the truth of the matter is, the immigration is the greatest example of how the two parties have the same goal and the same tactics. For years, the Democrats have been using the immigration issue to fearmonger people into saying that you're going to get deported or your family's going to get deported, and they're all a bunch of racists trying to get rid of brown people, and they're xenophobic, homophobic. It's all this stuff, right? It's all lies. And they say, we're going to take care of you. We're going to make this happen for you. We're going to make that happen for you. And then they never do. But what it does is it excites a bunch of people to get emotionally invested to come out and vote, right? For the legal citizens that are Hispanic or Latino or whatever that say, yeah, we can't let the racist Republicans get in, right? They're never going to stand for us. First thing Donald Trump does when he comes in office, he stands for them. He stands for them and fights for them and offers a real deal to help them out, which goes against everything that they've been taught. They've been taught that the Republicans are racists, which is mind-boggling, because how do you go from the party that frees the slaves to the party of white supremacy in opinion? It's not true. It's just not true. But that's why I can't support the Republicans anymore, because they sit back and did not defend their honor. They didn't defend my honor. They let that lie be propagated without even fighting it. They did nothing to defend their honor and speak truth to power or to the Democrats, whatever. So, but the Republicans are just exactly, especially on immigration, they're guilty of the exact same thing that the Democrats do. All of that I just talked about, with the Democrats lying and using emotion to get their base fired up to come vote, and fully knowing that once they get the vote, they're never going to do anything on that issue. The Republicans have done the same thing, and they've done it on the other side. And they've said, listen, your schools are going to be drowned out by people that don't speak the language. And some of that has happened in California, by the way. And it's going to be, they're pitting us against each other, and we're falling for it. And the Republicans say, you know, we got to build a wall. We got to do this. We got to do that. We got to stop the illegal immigration. They're going to take up all of our jobs, and all of our wages are going to go down, and all of this and that and the other. And then they get the votes, but they never do anything about those issues. And both sides have been doing it. The first thing Donald Trump came in was solve that problem, or attempt to solve that problem. And they were just like embarrassed, like, holy crap, you know, you're not supposed to actually solve problems there, Mr. Trump. You're just supposed to get people riled up so you can get their money and their votes. That's all that's for. We don't actually solve problems here. And so when President Trump started solving problems, that's when both sides turn their backs on them, because we have a one-party system. We have two separate entities that support the government mechanisms and the government power, not the American people. So if we have a 4-year break of Donald Trump not being president, that could be a good thing. As I said in the last podcast, he could build a group of people around him a little more meticulously, a little more vetting, a little more making sure that people are loyal to the country. And if he gets elected in 2024, he can just wipe out everybody and say, you're all out of here. See you later. I don't need you. I got my own people coming in to do these jobs. I saw something earlier, and it was a address for the Mar-a-Lago Club, and it was 1100 South Ocean Boulevard, Palm Beach, Florida 33480, and it was encouraging people to send in letters to President Trump. So I'm going to put that up, and I'm thinking of writing a letter. Not that President Trump himself will read it, but we need to encourage him to keep the fight going. We need a third party. The GOP is worthless. They are beyond repair. And if you think about this, one of the arguments against starting a new party is it's just too difficult. Most of the times when you start a new party, the best chance you have of winning an election is a presidential election. And that may be true, but that goes back to my philosophy that we're looking at rebuilding our country backwards. Our country was built from the ground up to operate from the ground up. And if we try to repair it from the top down, it goes against how the government is supposed to work. And we need to go from the bottom up. But imagine if President Trump supported a third party and came out next week and said, listen, Patriot Party, we're putting it together. Everybody can go change their voter registration to the Patriot Party. It never has been a time in modern history when it's been more possible to have success with this. And I hope that President Trump pushes it. That's the only way it's going to have enough momentum to push forward. But think about it. In 2022, there are 34 seats in the Senate that are up for grabs out of 100 total. So that's roughly 1/3 of the seats. If a Patriot Party type of a situation could happen, you wouldn't need to win 34 seats. If you won 10 seats or 15 seats, you would have a powerful block of American patriots in there to where nothing could get past the Senate without the approval of those 10 senators. We would have an immediate voice. Even if we don't take over the whole Senate, we would have power. Same thing in the House. 435 seats are up for grabs in 2022. You wouldn't need to win, but more like 25 of them, maybe 30 seats. If you won a block of seats like that as a Patriot Party, you would have an enormous amount of sway and an enormous amount of power within the House of Representatives. Everything would have to come through that block of patriots to get passed. And that would be enormous. And over time, it could gain and gain and gain to where eventually you have a majority of seats in the House. That's obviously it's not going to happen overnight, but who knows, man? You could win 30 seats in 2022. You can win 50 seats in 2022. You can win 100 seats in 2022. They can't stop us. We are a powerful force within this country. The American patriot, if anything that we've learned in 2020, is that we are a powerful political force in this country. The Democrats know that. They're scared to death. So it doesn't take a large amount of victories to make a difference. And even something like that, people say it's going to split the Republican Party, which is going to make all of us weaker and the Democrats stronger. That's not necessarily true, because if you have a Patriot Party where you have 20 seats in the House, all of the GOP that's still there, not all of them, you can never count on the rhinos, but there will still be GOP members that vote conservative-ish, put it that way. So it wouldn't necessarily split. You would actually have maybe unity more than we've had in a long time. As far as conservatism, the other GOP members that are the rhinos, who they're never going to do anything anyway. So what do we care if that's split off? They're split off from us no matter what. If we have no Patriot Party, they're still going to be split off from us. So we can do this. There's just so much. We got to make a difference in our own communities. I talked about this last time, about putting together your own coalition or your liberty group or whatever patriot group within your own community. It's not that hard to put it together. We have to stay motivated. We got so many patriots that talk so tough on social media and all of the things that they're willing to do for this country. But are you willing to volunteer to be a poll worker? Are you willing to volunteer to do all kinds of stuff? Are you willing to go down to the local city council meeting and make your voice known to influence the council members to vote a certain way on a certain issue? That's a very easy thing to do. It's a lot easier than, taking a bullet for your country, as some of these people, talk about. Do the easy thing. Hopefully we'll never have to do the hard thing. And if you have to do the hard thing someday, then hopefully you'll have the guts to do it. Hopefully I'll have the guts to do it too. I don't want to do it, to be honest with you. I'd rather go to the city hall meeting and city council meeting and make my voice known there. Do it that way, the easy way. We got to do it. We got to get involved. We just got to get involved. So I was talking a while back about this is another power that we don't take advantage of, and that is the power of the recall. We have that power right now. We don't take advantage of it. I was thinking a couple years ago, 2018, I think it was, California, there was a ballot initiative. There was a petition that was circulated that got 500,000 signatures, which was enough to put it on a ballot as a ballot measure to split the state of California into 3 states, which in my mind is awesome. I so wanted to vote for that. But the Supreme Court of California tossed it out at the last minute. And in fact, there was, Proposition 9, I believe is what it was. And there was Proposition 9 on the ballot and then a blank spot where it was on the ballot. They removed it from the ballot. That's how close it was to getting voted on. So we have power as citizens in our local communities to make things happen. People got together and they made that happen. The Supreme Court of California threw it out, right? Because they're a political body. But what we should have done is recall those judges. All of them, one of them, some of them. We should have put pressure on them at that time to make them pay for their bad decisions. Okay? And that is possible. You can recall a judge, a Supreme Court judge in California. It's been done. In fact, the first time Jerry Brown was governor, which is a while back, he used the Supreme Court to end capital punishment. Voters responded by recalling several members of the state Supreme Court. The infamous Rose Bird was the Chief Justice, and she made clear she was the law, not the people of California. So she ended up getting recalled. Getting rid of California Supreme Court judges is a difficult task. Their names are placed on the ballot every 12 years, which makes it difficult to bring change quickly. However, these justices can be recalled at any time and thrown out of office. This has happened only once, when allegedly soft on crime, anti-death penalty Chief Justice Rose Bird was recalled in 1986. So Rose Bird got the hook. She went against the will of the people, and the people fired back, and she was gone. This is in California, and admittedly, it was years ago. What did they say, 86? So yeah, it's decades ago. But the thing of it is, we still have that power. And contrary to what the media tells us, we are the majority of this country. Even in California, there are enough of us. Look at what's going on right now. We are almost there. We're more than 2/3, 4/5 of the way there to recalling Gavin Newsom. The rest of the country thinks California is all nuts and fruits. There are millions and millions. There were 6 million people in California, patriots, who voted for President Trump in 2020. 6 million. Why we only have 1.1 million signatures on the recall Gavin Newsom thing, I don't know. We need to get those other 5 million Trump supporters out there to sign that dang recall Gavin Newsom thing. So we have the power to make things happen. We need to organize. We need to get it done. We need to make things happen. We have tools at our disposal that we can use. All of these secretaries of state who violated the Constitution in these elections, whatever state you're in, Georgia, Pennsylvania does not have the power to recall. Citizens don't have that. So that should be something that maybe you, if you're in Pennsylvania, contact your state legislature. You have a Republican state legislature, and they're ticked off right now because they got pushed back on by the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania, as well as these various election officials that basically stepped on their neck and said, you don't have the power, we have the power. When the Constitution of Pennsylvania and the Constitution of the United States says, no, the state legislature has the power. So the state legislature is probably willing to work with the citizens to enact legislation that would give the citizens of Pennsylvania the power to recall. So if you're in Pennsylvania, you need to get that done. You need to organize a group in your community and get that done. So anyway, this is just going to be a short podcast. I don't want to go over stuff I've been going over in previous podcasts. So I'm going to go ahead and call it right now. Like I said, there will be, like I said last time, there's going to be a podcast coming up on language and terminology of the left that is designed to squelch the argument before it starts. We need to focus on using proper terminology, proper language, and getting our message across. We need to pick up where President Trump left off within the minority communities. We have more in common than we don't have in common. This myth that we are all so different and that white people can't get along with black people, can't get along with Mexicans, can't get along with, Asians and all this, and Asians can't get along with blacks, and blacks can't get along with Mexicans, and Latinos can't get along with this and that and the other. It's a lie. We are all human beings. We all have common interests. We all love our families. We all love our friends. We all have these things in common that pull us together. They don't want us to get together. We need to get together. We need to break down these barriers that have been artificially put between us as citizens. The government wants to divide us from one another. They want us to be alienated from one another. President Trump made great strides in breaking down some of those barriers. We need to continue that. We need to reach out to one another. We need to educate one another. There's going to be things that I'm not going to want to hear from other groups of people. There's going to be things that other groups of people don't want to hear from me, but we can't come to an understanding if we don't communicate, and we can't let them divide us any longer. We need to get involved in our communities. We need to get involved on every level. I need you guys to contact me to give me your ideas. That's how this country was made great, was by people like you and your ingenuity and your imagination and your just the cleverness of the American people. We need to draw upon that. And it comes from all walks of life, from all races, from all religions. We all have something to bring to the table, and we need to use our strengths where others are weak, and we need to surrender our weakness to where others are strong, and we need to come together and just take it back, take the power back. It is time to take the power back. Politicaltruths832.com. Check it out. I will be posting more podcasts to that website. I will be posting more information that you can use to further our cause of conservatism and making America great. Political Truths 832. I'm out.